Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to share with you what I got in my February Azure Standard haul. Last month, I posted my very first Azure Standard haul video, and I'll link that in the description box below. But we have the new Azure Standard drop here, and so this is my second haul. And compared to last time, I got a lot more stuff. So let's check out what I got. I want to first start with the cold stuff so I can get it back in the fridge. Apparently, I really like butter. So we do go through a lot of butter here, and I bought a few different types of butter, actually based upon your recommendations. So last month, a number of you left comments in my Azure haul video about different butters that you like, and so I tried a couple of them. So I actually haven't taste tested all of these yet. The only one I've taste tested is the Rumiano, and it is delicious. I'm sure these are great too. I just haven't got to it yet because I actually have a lot of butter to get through. These butter selections are actually a little bit more expensive than the butter I would buy at my local grocery store or at Costco or Sam's Club. But there are a few things I'm keeping in mind when I'm making decisions about buying on Azure. One, I am looking to see if I can get it for a better price. And you'll see today, many of these things actually are a better price on Azure than they are at a local grocery store. But two, if it is more expensive, is the quality better? I am willing to pay, depending on the product, a little bit more if the quality is better. And I will say so far, this Rumiano is way better than my regular old store-bought butter. It's creamier and it has a much more buttery flavor. So my husband and I did a little taste test with our regular butter from the store and this, and hands down, this one was the winner. But I think what I'm going to do with these more expensive butters is use them on, say, toast or something like that when I really want to taste the actual butter, and then use a cheaper variety when I want to bake with it or throw it into other things that I'm cooking. So that way I can offset the price of this just a little bit, but still have really delicious butter to try. And just a fun fact, Mother's Choice is made in a town called Clackamas, Oregon. And I actually used to live just outside of Clackamas and went to school there. So I just have an affinity for this just for that reason alone. We got another brand of raw cheddar cheese. So last month we ordered raw cheddar cheese. It was gone in no time. Now I can't remember what brand it was, but you guys recommended the Sierra Nevada raw cheddar cheese in the comments, so I got this. So I actually haven't tried this yet. I'm gonna try it right now and let you know what I think. But a lot of you said that this was your favorite cheddar cheese from Azure Standard, so let's try it out. But first I have to get it open. Okay, it's packaged really well. Hold on. Okay, that only took me eternity. Oh, that's good. That's really good. My family's not home right now. I might have to eat this whole thing while they're gone. It's really good. What I like about that cheese, sorry, I'm still kind of eating it, is that it's really creamy. That might be the creamiest cheddar cheese I've ever had. So that for sure is a winner. Okay, let's talk about the eggs. I did not buy these eggs. So I actually get my eggs from a local woman who has backyard chickens, and I pay her $5 a dozen, and then she leaves them on my porch. $5 a dozen for farm fresh eggs is a steal in any economic times. But right now eggs are really expensive, and I'm feeling pretty bad that I got somebody else's eggs. When I got home from picking up my order and I was unpacking the boxes, I realized that one of the labels was for a Rebecca in a different town in North Carolina a couple hours away. So somehow that box made it off the truck and then into my pile. So just by coincidence, there happened to be two Rebeccas, which I mean, it's a pretty common name, so it's not surprising. But I ended up getting her eggs. And in the comments last month, some of you asked me what happens if there's a problem with your order. And now I don't know what happened on her side of the experience, but from my side, I contacted my local coordinator. She gave me a link to reach out to Azure, and then I told Azure what happened. They contacted her and at some point asked her if she wanted to meet to come get her eggs, but we live a couple hours away, so she declined. So they just told me to keep these eggs. And that's nice, and I really appreciate it. It's very generous of Azure, but I'm feeling kind of bad because eggs are not cheap right now, and she probably paid a lot for these eggs. I don't know if they refunded her. I don't know how they handle those things. I imagine that they did refund her for the eggs, but that's how I ended up with 4 dozen eggs that I did not buy. But in case you are wondering what happens if there's a problem with your order, there's just a link that you click and then you reach out to Azure and they take it from there. So it's really simple if there is an issue. A2 milk. So I talked about this a lot on last month's video, so you can check that out for more information. But we like this A2 milk so much in our last Azure Standard haul that we ordered another another batch of it, but I'm a little irritated with myself because we wanted 12 of them. I know that's a lot of milk, but you can only order once a month. So we wanted 12 to get us through the month and maybe to stretch out into the next month too, but I only ordered 6. I don't know what I did. I made a mistake. So we have 6 for this month. Next time I'm going to order 12. Don't ask me where I'm going to put 12 little cartons of milk in my fridge, but we are going to figure it out next month. Okay, I think that's all of the refrigerator stuff. Let's look at some frozen things. I didn't get anything frozen last time, so this is brand new. So I got carrots and peas for frozen veggies this month. Now, I don't keep a lot of frozen food on hand, but I do like having a little bit here and there just for busy nights. They're easy to throw in soups, for example. Also, I have a 4-year-old, so sometimes it's just really easy to make her some peas because she'll eat them. Now, we haven't tried the peas yet. They look fantastic, but we have had the hash browns and they were really good. So I fried up some home cured bacon and then I just used that bacon fat to cook the hash browns in, and they were delicious. I've bought a lot of the store-bought hash browns before from the regular grocery store, and they are never very good. They always burn, they don't cook well, but these cooked really great and they tasted really good too. So I definitely recommend getting those. Those bags of potatoes and peas, they'll last us a long time. So they're in the garage in our deep freezer, and then I'll just take some out as I need them. But I don't plan on buying a ton of frozen veggies just because that's not something we use a whole lot of, but I am glad that we have those on hand. Also in the frozen food department, we got beef tallow. So beef tallow doesn't necessarily have to be frozen, but this comes frozen. So we're keeping it in the deep freezer in the garage. So we've been switching out a lot of our cooking to beef tallow. We've really liked it. Beef tallow makes the best French fries. So I actually got a bunch of potatoes last month from Azure, and we still have some. And yesterday my husband made French fries in beef tallow, hands down. Best homemade French fries I've ever had. They resemble boardwalk fries, if you're familiar with that. They are so good. What's really interesting about this beef tallow is that it looks different and it tastes different. Our last batch of beef tallow was from Sam's Club, and it was very good, but it's a stark white and doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. This is a little more yellow and it tastes really good. And I looked up why that is, and it said online that when beef tallow has a yellow hue to it, that means that the grass the cow is eating has more beta carotene in it. So a beef tallow that's a little more yellow actually tastes better, and it does taste better for sure. And also, just so you know, once you pull it out of the freezer, you can just store it in your fridge and get through it that way. One thing my husband's been doing with our beef tallow to save a little bit of money is after he uses it, he strains it to get all the particles out, stores it in a mason jar, and then we keep that in the fridge, and we can get a number of uses out of that. So this container of beef tallow, it might look small, but this can last a really long time. Last up on the cold stuff is hot dogs, and this is from the same brand, Thousand Hills. Everything I've had from Thousand Hills so far has been really good. And these hot dogs, obviously we've already eaten some. They're sealed up in a Ziploc bag. Everyone wants to eat the rest of these, but I have been making my family wait until I film this. These are delicious hot dogs. We agree, these are the best hot dogs we've had, and they don't have all the weird stuff that regular store-bought hot dogs have in them. The closest comparison I can make in terms of flavor is these are like a Hebrew National hot dog, but like a little smokier, and I think way more delicious and way less salty. Some of those store-bought hot dogs are so salty I can't even eat them, but these, of course, they're salty because they are hot dogs, but not like the store-bought stuff. Now, in terms of price, these hot dogs are expensive. So this is one of those things where the quality is a lot better. I will buy them and we will just not eat that many. So for my next order in my cart, I think I have 3 of these. I think they're like $8 or $9 a pack, which is kind of a lot, but we'll keep them in the freezer and then we'll just use them here and there. Sometimes I like to find things at the best deal I can. Other times I want the best quality and I'll just use less of it. And that's what we're gonna do with these hot dogs because they are so good. In fact, we're gonna eat these for lunch today. Now, to go with those hot dogs that we're going to get in our next Azure order, I'm going to make homemade sauerkraut. I was born and raised in Western Maryland. When you eat a hot dog, you put sauerkraut on it. That's just how it's done. But you can see this is, let me get a better view for you here. This is a really nice looking cabbage. And this cabbage for an organic cabbage ended up being about the same price as I would pay at my local grocery store. And I also got a batch of celery because we always keep carrots, onions, and celery on hand. They're like the go-tos for just about every meal. Okay, let's talk about some non-food things for a minute before we get into the pantry items. So I got this automatic dishwashing detergent, and I was a little skeptical because, you know, I've tried these like natural things before and they're always kind of a bust. but I've been using just regular old dishwasher detergent and it was leaving a residue and we could smell the added perfume on our dishes. So I knew we had to do something different. So I tried the Azure dishwashing detergent and it is amazing. Hands down, best dishwasher detergent I've ever used. And in comparison to a natural dishwasher detergent that you would get at the regular store, at least in my area, this is way cheaper. So not only is this unscented, I also feel like it's cleaning off whatever residues and odors from the other dishwasher detergent, and things are starting to get back like a more neutral smell, which is definitely what I'm going for with my dishes and my food storage containers. Definitely 10 out of 10, recommend the dishwasher detergent. So another non-food item that I got was beef tallow balm. So I don't know what's going on, but since I've been headed into my mid-40s, my skin, it's like so dry and crepey, and like my guess is that's not gonna get any better, but I'm desperate for anything. So I got this beef tallow balm, and so far I really love it. Right now it's cold and dry, it's February, so my hands keep cracking and they're really dry. So I've been putting it on my hands every time I wash them and they definitely feel better. And yesterday for the first time I put it on my face and I feel like it's really helped moisturize my skin. And my makeup went on a lot better today. So I washed my face, put the beef tallow balm on, let it sit for a minute, and then I put my makeup on and I felt like my makeup went on and set a lot better. So that is good news in the mid-40s department. This is from a brand called Hearth and Homestead. They're out of Virginia. And this is something I wouldn't be able to find locally at all. And that's one of the things I've really been enjoying about Azure is I can get things that would not be available in my local stores. Or honestly, I probably just wouldn't find online anyway, just because I'm not really on social media that much. And I don't even know where I would have come across this other than Azure. So this is an awesome find. Now, I know a lot of people are really into making their own beef tallow balm, and I actually might try that with some of the beef tallow that we got from this month's order. But for something that's really easy and smells really good and I don't have to worry about it, I can just open it and use it, this is great. Okay, let's go into the pantry. So first up is Cocoa Chimps. Maybe not my go-to cereal, but my daughter really loves cereal with milk. She doesn't just call it cereal, it has to be cereal with milk. And so I wanted to get her something a little more nutritious and without less funky ingredients in it. And I will say, my husband and I also have been eating the Cocoa Chimps at night for a late night snack. So it is a family-friendly food, but this is a great option if you want a cereal, something quick and easy in the morning, but without all of the weird stuff that comes in store-bought cereal sometimes. This brand is Nature's Path, which is pretty readily available in a lot of grocery stores, but the store that I buy most of my groceries from, they don't have a lot of great organic options. We do have a Whole Foods locally, and so they do have a lot of these sorts of things, but the Whole Foods from my house, it's kind of a hike and I just don't really feel like messing with it. So I much prefer just to get it on my Azure order and then I can get all this stuff at one time. I recently finished a pantry challenge and I was getting down to the bare bones in my pantry. I was out of a number of staples. So I decided to replace those staples with some items from Azure, but only the ones that were actually cheaper than getting in the store, or in the case of cocoa powder, actually a better quality. For whatever reason, locally, I cannot find good quality organic cocoa powder. So Azure is my go-to. So I haven't made anything with this cocoa powder yet, so I can't tell you if it's better than any other brand, but I can't get the organic cocoa powder near my house. I could if I went to a grocery store on the other side of town, but I don't feel like doing that. So this is not only easier, but it's also an organic cocoa powder, whereas usually I'm stuck with something like a Hershey's brand or something like that. So I'm really happy that I'm able to get a good quality cocoa powder accessibly. I also got some garbanzo beans, so I like to throw these in like soups and stews. Sometimes I even make hummus. The garbanzo beans were actually a better price on Azure than they were at my local grocery store, so that's why I chose them from there. I have not used these yet, but my guess is they're gonna be delicious. And some raw whole cashews. This is one of my husband's favorite snacks. We almost always get our cashews from Costco, so we're really curious to know if the cashews from Azure were going to be better. And they are definitely better. The texture and the flavor is a little bit different than the raw organic cashews from Costco. I don't exactly know why that is, but I have a hunch that these just haven't been sitting on a shelf quite as long. I don't really know if that's true or not, but that's what it tastes like. They taste really fresh and they're soft and creamy, and they have more of like a cashew flavor than the ones we get from Costco. In that same vein, over the last 2 months, we have been buying from Azure instead of Costco for the most part. And what we found is that the quality from Azure has been way better than Costco. I'm not exactly sure why that is. I do think Costco's quality control has gone downhill over the last year or so, but I do feel like the quality control standards from Azure are better and everything just tastes a lot fresher from Azure. So we've been really happy with that. Popcorn. So I got a multicolored popcorn last month. We loved it. My daughter loves popcorn. She loved the multicolored popcorn, but we wanted to try a different type, and this is mushroom popcorn. So there's this type of popcorn sold in the store. I don't even know what the brand's called. It's the caramel and cheddar popcorn. I can't even buy it because I'll eat the whole bag. It is so good, but it is made with mushroom popcorn. So I'm gonna try my hand at making that caramel and cheddar popcorn with this. I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I really would like to make my own in small quantities because I could eat like a dump truck of that stuff. It's so good, but I also want it to be a little bit healthier, and I think it'd be a fun thing to do with my daughter too. So we are excited to have a different type of popcorn to try. Okay, let's talk about this Einkorn. So I ran out of Einkorn. Whenever I buy wheat berries for the first time to see if I like them, I get them in a small batch from Amazon because I don't want 25 pounds of something I don't like. So we got some Einkorn from Amazon, used all of it, loved it. So I bought 25 pounds from Azure. The grains are super clean. I haven't seen any debris in them at all. But what's really interesting is they're a slightly different color than the ones from Amazon, and they smell really different too. This has a really grassy aroma to it that when I was milling it, I was like, that's weird. It kind of smells grassy, almost a little sour. And I thought that maybe it would bake out of it. So I made a loaf of sourdough bread with it. And then the bread smelled like that too, and it tastes like it. It's not necessarily bad, but I definitely like the flavor of the other one better. Now, one thing about milling wheat berries is you kind of get what you get, right? It depends on the weather. It depends on what's growing around it. There are all sorts of factors that come into play on what wheat tastes like. But do keep in mind that when you order 25 pounds of wheat berries, that might last you a long time. And if you don't love it, you might be stuck with something that you're not 100% into. But with that said, it's totally manageable. I think I just like the flavor of the other one better. But all of my other wheat berries from Azure have been totally fine. So it's only been this Einkorn that has like a funny taste to it. And I don't think it has anything to do with Azure specifically. My guess is it's something environmental that's really out of anyone's control. But I've already put half of it in this 2.5 gallon bucket. This is how I store my grains. I really like these buckets because they fit on a standard shelf. They're really easy to stack, and then I just keep the extras tucked away in a corner so then I can refill as needed. Last up is all-purpose flour. I was totally out of flour. I had to make cookies for my daughter's friendship day party at school, and I needed 5 cups of flour, and I had precisely 5 cups of flour. So I lucked out, but I've been waiting for this to come in because I haven't had any flour. The organic all-purpose flour from Azure was a good price. And normally I get my all-purpose flour from Costco, but the last 2 times I got all-purpose flour from Costco, it was a little damp and it was hard to use and it was kind of messing up my recipes a little bit. So I've stopped buying my flour from Costco and I'm going to try out Azure's all-purpose flour. The quality looks good. It feels like it's finely ground and it's not damp like the stuff I've been getting from Costco. So I'm totally pleased with that. 25 pounds of flour kind of sounds like a lot, but the rate at which I bake for my family and then also for my blog and YouTube, we will be through this in no time. So that is it for this month's Azure haul. If you want to see how I'm using all these products, be sure to subscribe because I do post 2 videos a week and often I am cooking in those videos so you can see how I integrate all of these ingredients and products into my day-to-day. Also, the best way to stay in the loop with all the Moon and Magnolia happenings is to join the email list. When you join, I'll send you links to all of my blogs, videos, tutorials, recipes, posts, and more directly to your inbox. Thanks so much for stopping by today, and I'll see you again next time.